There's nothing scarier than your significant other getting their first job in nightlife. Because whether you know it or not, it's over. It's over.
At that time,
Tell me one that's like was successful.
At that time, I was dating a girl. I started dating a girl that worked there, and I suggested to her to get her a job at some place in Lincoln Park. And within 6 months, she was with the manager. And I was on the bus, Tribune under one arm, bag of white goods. It's happened to me.
Yep.
Well, all right. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin.
Welcome back to the Party with Strategy podcast. Very special episode on site. We came out, episode 2.0. Everyone knows the first game doesn't count.
Don't count, I guess.
Thank you guys for having us. Great host here, Morgan McMeal.
One does what one can, and having friends over,
And the young Stew God.
Hi, Stuart Gonzalez. Back again. Hopefully this doesn't get canceled.
We're going to keep it a little more tame this time. We're going to,
Turns out there's HR at my work. Turns out I have a wife and kids. Turns out I can't be talking like a degenerate truck stop. Whatever. I don't know. We went too far down that road already last time.
We did. There were some stories. There were some good times were had, but we're back for a more tame episode. We're gonna keep the reins on this one, and we're gonna have to get into from the beginning where you guys got your start in the industry. I mean, we're gonna have to go back to 1939 here.
For him.
Hitler had just invaded Poland. It was a rough time, and I needed work. Yeah. And no, that was actually 37, by the way. But anyway, we talking to me? Want me to go first? Or you
Yeah,
go first?
let's hear get a little industry history here for
I've been
anyone
doing
that
this
doesn't know.
For 20 years downtown this year. I think I started in 04. So this is a 20-year 04. Think about that. What's fucked up is people at work are like work for me that were born in like 2003. How old's your dad? Like 44. How old are you? I'm like, don't ask. Don't worry about it. But I started working at bars on the south side, like bouncing. I remember the first gig I had, I made $7 an hour on a paycheck, and I fought every night. Every night you had to fight. It was like Fight Club, except it wasn't a Fight Club. It was just a bar where there was like 5 girls and 100 dudes, and nobody got laid. So at the end of every night, it was like, let's fuck somebody up. Yeah. Like, all right, well.
The hippopotamus theory.
Yeah.
Whoever wins at the end of the night, whoever wins the fight at the end of the night gets the lady.
It wasn't more like that. It was more like just.
That ever worked ever?
The other great thing I remember about that place is you used to have to buy your own shirts there, and they had these really nice polo shirts with embroidery on them and shit. And the shirts were like $24. So you get in a fight and get your shirt ripped. That was like half the money you made that night. Like I was working to pay for shirts.
Yeah,
that was tough. But whatever. And then I remember I had a buddy of mine, Mike Giggs. Hey, what's up, Giggs? His brother was starting to run security at this nightclub, and they're paying $20 an hour cash. And I was like, sign me up. At the time, I owned a flower shop. I was running a flower shop on the south side, and I was like, I got to go down here. And then the whole world changed once that happened. You take a kid from the south side, like I grew up in the city, and then you go downtown and see what the real city is, and it's like, holy shit, man! Like girls like you'd never seen before, money, all that type of stuff, and.
What was that spot? What was
the first spot I ever worked downtown was called Reserve. It's on Lake Street where that Chase's reading room.
Yeah, right. PB&J on the corner of Peoria and Lake.
Yeah, so it was in that building upstairs and downstairs. It's cool.
Really?
They had windows on the outside, and like the L train would run by down Lake Street. It was pretty dope.
That was the coolest part about Reading Room is that train would go by that big ass window.
Yeah, so
that was the best thing they had going on in there.
I didn't stay there long enough to see that.
You're wrong for that.
Oh.
But that was a cool club, and that was where like, sorry, cough. DJ AM would play there. I don't know if you ever heard of DJ AM, like from back in the day.
I've heard his name a couple times.
Right, like he was. I didn't mean that to sound like a jag-off. I don't know how far back you guys go, man. That was like 20 years ago. What were you, like 14? See your house? Like
I was
Nine.
No, but like that was like you got exposed. So for me personally, like at that time, what everybody was doing musically, it was like, you know, there obviously in Chicago, there's a lot of house, you know, and people would come to Chicago to see house music, and there was like some DJs that were great. But when they started doing like the mashups and stuff, and that's what Reserve was like heavy in, like right in the wheelhouse of that was the music. Like when that was going on, they opened this place, and like every DJ that would come there, like that's what everybody was doing. Mm-hmm. And it was personally, I loved it. Like that was, to me, that was great. You'd hear like, you know, Kanye and the Who and shit like that. People would just mix up the craziest stuff together. It was great, and the party was just live, and the people were just into it, and it was just a different party vibe than you see now, where it's a lot more posing and people on their phone and shit like that. You know, at this time, like nobody had what we consider like a real phone now, you know? So it was all like Nokias and Nextels and stuff like that. So you weren't like, there was no social media and shit. So it was a whole different vibe, man. It's hard to, I don't know, something like that will ever be replicated, to be honest.
It's funny because that was 20 years ago. And not necessarily that area was like a hot spot, but that spot was in that area, and that
it was dog shit over there then. There was nothing else there.
Right, but that spot was a popping spot, and it was in that area, and the mashups sort of super open format thing was popping back then, and that's kind of what's happening right now. Is all of Chicago party scene is kind of going towards the West Loop back to that area, and then also the music scene is sort of in that same transition. We're coming out of the EDM era, coming back to like mashups and old school and fun and sing along.
Yeah, just like people like, you know, you're hearing like Sweet Caroline in the middle of the shit and people are popping to it. It's like I guess the best way to, for me, and mind you, this is someone that doesn't get to go out that often, you know, but like when I'm over there, it's just it's much more laid back, and people don't want the pretentiousness of clubs. They want to like go somewhere and just dress how they want and hear just party music and everything to be light. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to think too much about it. And that's great. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm all for that if that's your thing, you know?
Yeah, that's I had Robbie on last week, and he sort of talked about, you know, he said that he thinks that the bottle blondes and the hefes and the hybrids and those places that sort of came around and were like, we're going to let everyone in at a time when underground was super poppin' and was not letting everyone in. It was very hard to get in.
Dickheads.
Yeah. They
what are you looking at me? It was you.
He said that those spots left this city in shambles because that's kind of where it went. That's the direction it went in, right? It was less exclusive. It became more of like,
I beg to differ, just in part because, like, you know, 5 years ago when we opened TAO, I mean, it was definitely another like hard to get into place, and we crushed, you know, and it still is, you know, a very good party there. But to Robbie's point, I think that he was right in regard to like people wanted something that wasn't as, you know, high end and pretentious maybe as like underground was, and that's why a lot of these other places did well. But eventually, you know, they found her because when you let in, you know, anybody, you get anybody results, you know what I mean? And you get those places, and no offense, Stu, but those places always had a lot more fighting, a lot more
who was running the door at that place?
Who knows,
God
man?
damn.
Kid was a cowboy.
I wonder who trained him.
Yeah, I don't know who trained him, motherfucker. I don't know.
He's saying like they let in anybody. I don't know about that place, but I know they had like a dress code that went crazy. So I don't know how everyone got in there.
It was
you mean
really
that racist ass dress code you guys had over there?
It was really
terrible,
funny
man.
when he said that, because that is you know, you ask most people about Bottle Blonde and that's what comes up is like, oh, they were racist, they had that dress code, this and that. And his point was like, oh, they let anyone in, you know?
You know
So
what
it
the
was
funny
like,
thing is because like you start out letting anybody in, right? And then once people want to go there, then you have to start picking and choosing who comes in, right?
Yeah.
I was just having this conversation with Dante the other day. He was writing a bid for Barstool about Mario Carbone, the guy who owns the Carbone. I don't know if that's first name Mario, but the guy who owns Carbone restaurant talks about his restaurants, how he hates how people dress. And like that's kind of the way I came up. You know, back in the day, you had to put on a pair. Like I'm telling you, like when I was going out and talking about like 99, 2000, you go to the drink or elixir places like that. Like, bro, you had to have black dress pants on, a dress shirt on, dress shoes on, like everybody. Like you didn't come correct. You didn't have a chance of getting into it, no matter who you were. And I think this whole thing took a big turn about 10 years ago. And it's when like the Gucci jogger, I don't know why I'm making air quotes, but like when that came into style, right? When like joggers became a thing.
Yeah.
And then you had cats trying to get into club wearing sweatpants. That's because that's what joggers are. They're sweatpants. And they would come up to the door, and it was like,
It's $200 sweatpants.
"Oh, these are $300. These are joggers. You know, I don't give a fuck, man. You got sweatpants on, Playboy. You ain't coming in." Like that's just how this goes. And then it turned into, you know, it got into a culture thing, and it turned into like, listen, we just have a hard rule about dress code. You can't wear sweatpants, whether they're $300-$400 or what they are. It doesn't really matter. And to be honest with you, that has transferred now into, you see the way kids dress now, and it's like you still have your people that get dressed up, and guys are looking sharp, and girls are all done up.
From suburbs,
but like
usually.
there's this whole vibe to the young people now where it's like, and you know, I'm admittedly older gentleman, you know, like
Older. You're not old. You're older.
Yeah, you know, I'm on your podcast wearing fucking Crocs, bro. Like I'm an old man. It's fine. I get it. Like I get it. Like I'm completely comfortable with that shit. My wife will walk behind me. Everyone will see how I'm doing. Anyway, everybody knows how Morgan's living out here, lap of luxury. No, but for real, like you see boys and girls are dressed like the same way, right? And it's like the guys wear like these dusty ass looking chinos with like a
Oversized blue jeans.
or the girl, the girls wear the mom jeans and the boys wear the chinos, and they both wear like dirty ass Air Forces or some like New Balance their dad used to cut the lawn in and shit.
Yeah.
And then you throw on like your
That was the first thing I put on that bottle blonde dress code. No Air Force Ones. And
Well,
now they're trending
and
everywhere.
then up top you wear like some fucking $400 shirt that says Kiss right here. It has like holes in it. Like, wow. You know, imagine this movie SLC Punk back in the day. This guy talked about how like you're doing everybody's doing the same thing. You're not. It ain't like this isn't stylish. Like you're not expressing yourself. You're just trying to be like everybody else.
You're just following a trend.
100%. And the whole idea, like, I'm low key, I don't have to dress up to go out. And it's like, you just look like a fucking frumpy ass hillbilly. But
Yeah.
hey, man, listen, if that's your thing, whatever, man. Like, we still try to hold people to a little higher standard. But at the end of the day, man, you got to move bodies through the place. And like, we just, we're working with what we can work with. And also, like, you know, there's nice kids. They dress like that. Good looking, attractive people. That's just their style. And so be it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that needs to come back a little bit, and I think it is in very small increments. That exclusivity, that look the part to get in, that because we were just talking about how 20 years ago and today there's certain things that are matching up, and I think that's one of the things that's slowly but surely getting reintegrated into nightlife.
I know that for sure. A couple steakhouses now have dress codes, like really strict dress codes. Because in like 2020, they were just letting everybody in.
COVID kind of, fucked everything up, right?
Yeah.
It was like you just come out in like, house shoes and sweats and like you just they were just happy to have somebody in, you know what I mean? And and I think now there's a minor reset, but I don't think there's going to be honest with you. Before it was like you can't tell anybody what to do anymore, right? So people are so individually minded. We have corrupted these kids into this snowflake.
Here we go.
And I don't mean snowflake like soft. I mean like I'm an individual. I do my own thing at all times. You can't tell me this. You can't tell me that. I'm gonna do what and it's like, dude, like there was a unity and there was order to like everybody kind of having to look sharp and having to dress up. And it's like, well, I know that at least the people who are here have the ability to do that, can get their shit together enough to come out to the club looking right. And people are going to thumb their nose at that now. And then they're going to go online and they're going to cry about it, or they're going to say, this place is, it's funny, dude. When you can shut people down at the door, like, it's like, they're like, you can't not let me in. I'm like, yeah, I can. Not let in.
That's what they pay me for.
Like,
that's what I'm here for.
This is my job.
You make minimum wage.
Like, I didn't get into that bullshit. I'm talking about more like no. It's more like the idea of you're saying no to them, right? Mm-hmm. is so foreign to anybody at this point now.
Yeah.
Wait, no. I'm like, yeah, no, you can't come in. Why? Because, we think you're overserved. I'm not overserved. I just don't like your face. We're not letting you in. You can't do that. I'm like, boy, this ain't the fucking public library, Playboy. Like, we just tell you no, and it means no. We reserve the right to refuse anyone we want, Not to say we sit around and flex like that, but there's just people that come up talking out of the side of their face, or they're too fucked up or whatever. You got to just check them a little bit.
That is one of the most key components of having a doorman, right? Is to talk with someone and get a little bit of an understanding of what type of person they are.
Yeah.
How much alcohol have they had? Are they being a dick to me? If they're being a dick to me, they're probably going to be a dick to someone else inside, and it's going to cause a problem. Like, that is your job, is to talk to them and get that information, then decide, like, probably not tonight, man. Try again next week.
I've seen, I think you're going to agree with me when I say this, but I've seen a drop off in the over entitled, pretentious dickhead kid, right? Like, there used to be the kid that would walk up and like throw the credit card. Hey, listen, doorman, blah blah blah, and depending on the way he talked,
But Dad's a lawyer.
or but shit like that. You don't really see that as much anymore. No. There's an overall tone of I can do what I want with people, but there's also there's a lot of nice people too, man. It isn't everybody, and it's like, it's funny because you'll see guys who start talking out of the side of their face, and right away their boys check them. And don't talk, and it's not like, shut up, we got to get in. It's like, dude, don't talk to people like that. Eric, why would you speak to a person like that? He's just trying to do his job.
He's an individual.
And I'm like, no, man, actually, I was being a dick. But thanks for ruining that back and forth. Because, stuff like that just is fun sometimes. People, the guys we'll be cutting it up at the door with somebody, and I'll let the guy know, what, look, you at that guy? I'm like, because he was funny.
Yeah.
Like, he made me laugh. and that more so than anybody else tonight, like, it's made him stick out. So it's like, come on in, player. Like, what? You're letting him in? Come on, I don't care. Let him go ahead. Go have some drinks. He always gets mad at me. He takes his shit personal still.
I don't take it personal, but
you like, don't take it personal, but you do take it personal.
These they need to learn somehow, some way.
Yeah.
And I remember
I
was taught by the person to teach them the way, because life hasn't taught them so far.
I got soft a little bit in my old age, maybe. I don't know. A little bit.
The wife, the kid, the new home. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
you grow or you die.
That guy the other day there's a guy in these girls were they put this stupid bike lanes everywhere in Chicago, and it's like this. It's like fucking. It's like a Saigon or something.
They like painted it
how
overnight.
many people are on bikes, bro?
And this is coming from a biker.
I'm an avid biker.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll say, as an avid biker, get the fuck out of the way of people in cars, because you're gonna hurt a person, and the car's gonna hurt you. Yeah. So it's on you to make sure that you're doing things right. In front of TAO, when you step off the curb, there's this giant, like, 2-foot bike lane.
It's green painted.
So anybody
talking to that mic. I'm
sorry.
Man.
Anybody walking across to get to their car or get to an Uber has to cross this bike lane. So the other day, this three girls were, a little messed up, nothing bad, and they're trying to get to their cab, and this guy, like, intentionally can go around them but doesn't. And he's like
screaming in their ear.
He's like, bike lane, bike lane, bike lane, bike lane. And communitively, like, the five of us at the door just lost it. Shut up. Guys, the security's running over to get at him. And I'm like, oh, man, get him out of here. This guy's pelling his ass.
It was fucking 2 a.m. What are you fucking biking at 2 a.m?
Exactly. What are you doing? Man? The other night,
the Uber prices are cheap at 2 a.m.
The other night, a guy drives past. It's about 1 a.m, and this guy's going past, and he's like, they don't have, only a loser would play cover charge. I'm like, yo, bro, you're on a bike at 1 a.m. You don't get to give life advice, okay? Okay, Playboy, like, you ain't the one giving life advice, okay? You don't get to just throw political commentary out when you just got done, emptying the garbage, okay? Nothing. And I get it, I've had those jobs, but I knew my place.
Yeah.
Shut up, bro. Just go to and from work,
Yeah. So back in the day, you're at reserve at a time like that. Maybe even before. I mean, did you go out and party at any clubs or anything before you worked in the industry?
A little bit, but not a lot. Like, to be honest with you, man, it was like, it's funny to think about now, but like, you're talking 20, 25 years ago, and there was a big disparity in, like, what drinks cost now and then. Like, back in the day, it'd be like a $5 at a club. It'd be like a $5 vodka 7-Up with a $2 upcharge for Red Bull or something. And we're not keeping you awake, are we here? You sure you need a Red Bull or something? I'm gonna get you. I'll send Frank to the store. I'm just kidding. But like that was a big thing for us. It's like, oh, it's so expensive downtown. And now it's like, dude, I don't know, drinks are like 20 bucks a crack, $25 some places.
Plus
that was a big part of it, you know.
Red Bulls are like $7
also, it was
now.
like, you know, you had your. It was like being in the South Side was a lot more like living in a suburb than people think. The Northwest Side is probably the same type of way. It's like you have your own little community out there of people. You get a girlfriend. It's like, why do I want to go downtown and spend all that money? You know, the idea of paying to park is very foreign to people on the South Side. You know, so I wasn't really going out all that much. But I can tell you something right now. It was like when I started working at that club and saw what the streets had turned into, it was, I mean, I was in love. Boy,
What they
that was
had
it
to
for me.
offer? Yeah.
Hook, line, and sinker. I was dating a girl at the time for like 4 years, and that was over. Like,
Yeah.
that was like, no, she's a beautiful girl, really nice. It's just like, we weren't in the best situation at that time anyway, but it was also just like, you see what's going on down here, and it's like, you know, the hottest girls and guys from every place around are coming together at one place, and it's just like, I'll get to be a part of this. It was great, you know.
There's nothing scarier than your significant other getting their first job in nightlife.
Well,
Because whether you know it or not, it's over. It's over.
At that time,
Tell me one that's like was successful.
At that time, I was dating a girl. I started dating a girl that worked there, and I suggested to her to get her a job at some place in Lincoln Park, and within 6 months, she was with the manager. And I was on the bus, you know, Tribune under one arm, bag of white. What's happened to me?
Yep.
But then again, you know, it got a lot easier to rebound back then. And, you know, when you were like around that scene, you know, and that was like, I don't want to be like, you know, it was different then. A lot of things are different then. Things are always different. Every 20 years, a generation turns and things are different.
It was different. It was, speaking of like getting into a spot, I feel like back then, if you got denied at the door, you weren't like crying about it. You were more so plotting on how you're going to make it happen next time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They accepted it.
And some people get it and some people don't, because there's a real easy answer to that question.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, pay me. You know, like tip me. You know, one for the boss, one for the house, and one for me. That's how this works.
The cheers.
You want to get around the line, you know. You want to wait in line? Okay, well, you got to pay to cover it, and you got to take care of Uncle Fred. We think paid for all this, man.
Time is money, baby. If you want to waste your time in line,
like, you know, it's funny because people just like they don't get that part of it, you know. And it's like now it's way different, dude. Because now it's just like you're at a place where, you know, I actually helped build an app called Speakeasy. Go speakeasygo.com or speakeasy.com.
2 minutes for sponsorship.
Yeah, we'll put a little sponsored plug in there for this episode.
We did this. We built this app basically that you scan a QR code to pay your cover at the door and walk in, and you can do a skip line on.
Are they doing that at John Boy?
Yeah,
Yes,
they are.
yes.
Because I saw. Okay, I saw that.
Dante, a good friend of mine, his company in Cleveland was the first people to put us on. And then we were at about 20 places now. It's great. It's moving right along. But
Nice.
basically what it is like,
Well, let's get a little sponsorship on the pod. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
that's
it's
what I'm talking
great.
about. We built that just as a direct result to like my business partners, kids from University of Chicago, Paul, Tomas, Alex, hello. They came up with this idea. It's basically like the gist of it is like kids today, like this new younger generation, like they've never called a pizza place to order a pizza. They've never called a cab to call a cab. Everything is done via an app. Everything they pay for is done on their phones, you know,
Apple Pay,
for the most
yeah.
part, you know. So why not create a version of that for the front door of the nightclub, you know? And it gets rid of, you know, your leakage through theft, and it helps the clubs out through payroll because you're using an app instead of that, you know, and it pays for itself. It's great. That was kind of a direct response to that. But circling back, you know, there were door guys that were like very much got their rocks off on like, you know, being the door. I despite what anyone ever thought of me, if they thought of me at all, you know,
I could give a few things.
that was never my bag. It was never like about like some dominance or control or anything like that. I was just always about getting fucking paid, like, you know, and like I prided myself on everywhere I worked about like, not only am I going to leave with a pocket full of money, but I'm going to put a shitload of money in the coffers at the club because that's how I kept my job for 20 years and worked at the best places in the city all the time because I was good at it. And what good at it means is you can't, there's an old saying about you can shear a sheep 100 times and butcher it only once, So like you keep shearing that sheep every night and you make sure one for the club, one for me, one for the club, one for me. And it seems to have worked out pretty well over the years,
Yeah.
So
I mean, honestly, like over the years, there's a lot of door guys you've seen that are like that, but the ones who stuck around the longest is Morgan. Me.
Yeah.
Nobody can throw me out there. Me.
well, yeah, but the other thing too is just like, no disrespect to anybody in the game and who does what we do, but it's just like I was never like one for like flaunting it, and like I about me flaunting it was throwing money back over a bar somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
that was the other
Getting a
thing
couple
too.
PBRs or
Like,
something.
High life for my my choice. But like, there was a lot of guys that too in this that were like needed this to be this, and I was just like, listen, man, when I'm not at work, like I am not the person who work. Like I'm probably sitting at some shitty bar drinking High Life, drinking Jameson, listening to the Doobie Brothers and talking shit with the boys. Like that was always it to me. I got over nightclubs real fast as far as like places to hang out were concerned.
Well, don't worry. Every time I went out, they had nice things to say about you.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they did.
They did not. They did not. What's up with your boy? Who? Morgan. Give him some money. Like, what the fuck you want me to tell you?
Give him some money or bust his balls back.
bust
I mean,
his
the
balls-
man just told you make him laugh.
Yeah,
He'll let
it's
you
not
in.
hard.
You'd be real surprised over the years how many guys threw a good one at me, and I was like, "Yo, that was right, man. Come on, let's go." And then they look at you like you're gonna crack them.
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, man, that was actually funny." And you go, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, that was a good line. I'll go to fucking side before I change my mind."
Yeah.
Don't ever fucking talk to me like that again.
That's that.
It's gotta be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the
I remember
Chicago in
when
us.
I was
is-
underground one night, this kid walked up. He's like, "All right, listen, you fucking old man. Do we have to go through this every fucking night?" I'm like, "No, give me $50." He's like, "Here, now shut the fuck up." I'm like, "Thanks, go." The dudes were like, "Yo, he told you something." Whatever, man.
Fucking look at the money. That's
If
all
I
it
got
is.
it, listen, man, it was a perfect exchange to me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He got to say his little shit. He
Yeah.
got my money, go inside. It was great,
Yeah.
Fuck you, pay me. That's all we need.
So in 2004, Morgan's working the door at Reserve. Were you a freshman?
I was about to be freshman in 2005 in high school, so I was 8th grade.
You're 8th grade.
Oh, fucking
Where-
cold.
where-
Y'all some
where-
cold-
where you at?
Y'all some cold motherfuckers out here.
I was in
man.
8th grade. You want me to start from there?
Like walking
It's a
into-
long journey
like
until I
walking
met
home
him.
from, it's like walking over to school in the snow right now,
Yeah.
man. Dude,
Where you at? Somewhere on the north side?
No, South Side.
South side. Okay. All right.
say chlamydias or some shit. Where'd you go, man?
Hey,
Same thing, yeah, so-
this is what happened last time. We're gonna get banned again.
For the sake of the pod, we'll fast forward a little bit to 2010, maybe, right? You're graduated. You're going to college.
2013 I graduated 2013 in college. I started the industry when I was 20, so that was 13 years ago.
Where at?
I started in Wrigleyville working at a shitty bar.
Which one? There's a lot of those over
They're
there.
Barcelona and Rockwood. They don't even exist anymore. I was just over
I remember
there.
Rockwood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Work-
I've been to that place.
Yeah, Wrigley's another world
Yeah,
now.
It's completely different. I go
Oh,
over there.
yeah.
I don't even recognize it. I worked there for like a year and
And
a
how'd
half.
you get in there? Were you going out with your boys and
Yeah,
they
we were
recruited
going
you
out.
because you're a big boy or what?
I went to, we were playing football in college and a couple of my teammates were working there and they just put us on and we started working at the bars in Wrigleyville. And then somehow they going out and partying, they met people in River North and they got into Studio Paris, what at the time was like one of the best clubs. So when I turned 21, I jumped in right into like probably one of the, at the time was the best club in the city.
That was
Paris was
100%.
Paris was in looking back, like Paris is very memorable. Like they did it right there for
Yeah.
a long time.
I remember they were number
know.
2 in Dom sales in the whole country.
Yeah, it was. They ran a
was
good party
crazy.
there, and for a long time too.
Yeah.
And
They shut down because they wanted to.
But they hired good people. They had good people. Dom was great there, and
Foreman.
Ben was great. And
Shouts
they
to
had some
Foreman.
really
Shout out
great
to Ben
servers.
Foreman,
Yeah, Ben
dude.
Foreman
Shouts
was
to
a
Foreman.
That was my first GM.
They had a
First
lot
GM to
of-
yell
they had
at
great
me.
He's a
servers
wild
that
boy.
stuck
He's
around
a little
for
bit of a
long
wild
time,
boy.
too. That was like
Man, I still got a foot stuck in my ass from him.
Yeah.
from who?
Foreman. Yeah.
Yeah, well. And then I stole these guys.
Yeah. So 2014, you're working at Paris Club.
It's like 15, and I was working. This is around the time like you take pictures and stuff. I took a picture at work and I like posted it when I was like very young, and like Studio Paris is like, no, you're fired. Everyone who took a picture like or did something crazy, it's like some kid got beat up or something, and they fired me.
Took a
So
picture
kid
of
was,
that.
so kid was knocked out and Stu lifted his leg up like a dog, pissed at a guy.
Wait, hold on. Let's rein it in. Let's rein it in. Let's not get too
I was kind of
crazy.
wondering. He's being too vague about this picture for my taste. I was young and I took a picture. No, motherfucker. What'd you do?
The dude got his ass beat, and
what
I took
you
a
stand over.
yeah, pretty much.
Wait, so they actually fired you for that?
Yeah, they let me go for that. They didn't specifically say that, but there was
Right,
like
right.
a court case and
I
all
could-
this
I
stuff
could
involved.
see it.
I actually know the guy who I know the guy who
I
headbutted
didn't know all
the dude.
this when I hired you.
Fuck you! It was you were
Fucking
like you wanted to
criminal
hire
ass.
me anyway.
Fucking
All right,
criminals.
so
man.
2015, Stu's fired from Paris.
Yeah.
We'll fast forward for you. You're at Underground at that time?
Yep.
If you say so, yeah. Believe. I mean,
Is that what it was?
2015,
He's
He's
yeah,
going
it was
senile in front of us again.
And
Where's
just-
my pills?
Just to fill in the gap real quick, what'd you do before that? Rhino at one point, right?
Oh yeah, there's a
Or
lot
Manor,
of good, lot of
what
good
was
years.
it?
My best years, to be honest with you, when you look at it from two perspectives, like there was years where like you had fun,
Yeah.
you know, and we all know all that entails, and then there was years where you got paid, you know, and prior to Underground, so I probably went to Underground when I was 33 or 34 ish, maybe.
My age.
And like
Yeah.
the 5 to 6 years before that, when I was at Reserve, and I left Reserve and went to we opened a place called Manor, which is where Parlor was and their new Rhino is now. We had Manor and Rhino, and then I left there and went to this place Epic, which is where Joy District is now.
I remember Epic.
then,
Steve Smooth used to
funny-
play there.
They like
Smooth effect.
they bogarted me at Epic, and they were like, "We're hiring another host," and I'm like, "No, there's not room here for 2 hosts." And they're like, "Well, we're doing it," and I'm like, "All right, well, I think we should just part ways." And I swear to God, this happened to me twice actually in my career. I walked out of there and I was like, what am I gonna do now? I better go get drunk. And I went to this place called the Bedford on Division Street, and AG Arturo Gomez called me that day randomly.
Like, didn't hear that you left or anything.
It was like an
just-
hour later, dude. It was like an hour later. He's like, "Hey, what are you up to?" I'm like, "Actually, I'm at Bedford." He's like, "Oh, I live right by there. I'll come by and see you." He comes over there and he's like, "Yo, you got to come and work for me." I wasn't going to give away I wasn't going to show him my whole ass.
Right,
I was
right,
like,
right.
He got mad at me for not telling him something. He did the same thing I did.
No, but I was like, no, I didn't beat nobody up. What the fuck are you talking
I
about,
took a
man?
picture of him getting his ass.
I didn't
whooped.
take a
little
picture of
different.
nothing, man. I'm grown folks. No, but
Barely
and
know how to use your phone. That's
why. Upside down camera
God,
shots.
his
It's a
app.
selfie of
I
him.
love that he's like this app he's created, and like every time he needs to troubleshoot something, he grabs me. Like, here you go.
So, listen, man, that's how it goes. Anyway, Arturo hit me up, and he was like, "You're coming to work for me," and I'm like, "Oh, let me think about it." He's like, "Don't think too hard," and I'm like, "All right." And I called him the next day. I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'll come over there." And I started working Underground before it got remodeled, and then
That was great.
then we shut it down, which would have been 2014, like 2015.
Yeah.
No, it was before that.
It
Way before that.
reopened
No,
in
I was underage.
2015 for sure, because I remember going in there for the opening with
Yeah, it was
Architect.
before
So-
because I was underage going in there.
So we reopened it, but in between we had this place called I Chihuahua.
I remember that. That's where Hush used to be. That's,
where
where
I first
Maya
got
is
fat.
now.
No lie. So like prior to I Chihuahua, I was like 215, 220 for life. And then Arturo put me in a chair in front of this taco stand late night place. And every time I turned around, they would just shove tacos out this little window.
Dude, fire.
And they were great, man.
shrimp
And we had a
tacos there
good
are still
time
the
there,
best.
but it was also like I was serious about work, and this wasn't what I was there to do. Like, this was not running a door. This was literally like checking IDs at some little hole in the wall,
Yeah.
But right around the time I was getting beat up and fed up with it, I was like, we were getting ready to open Underground again.
Yeah, reopen.
So that worked out good. And we worked around with different spots for a minute, and I finally started running the door probably 3-4 months after we opened there. And initially he wanted me to be on the floor and run it down there, which I'm excellent at, but I don't like it because you're down in the club.
Mm-hmm.
The secret, I'm going to tell you, not a lot of people know about me, but I really don't enjoy club music. strangely enough.
Fucking hates it.
Especially
Fucking
like
hates
if
it.
you're not participating, you know,
Yeah.
it's like you can hear a song you like or something, but for the overall, it just, to me, it's like I'm in, and I spend, honest to God, in the course of a year, maybe I'll spend 2 hours in the nightclub during,
Way
maybe.
over. Not even. I don't think you do it a
Over the
half
course of
hour
a year.
anywhere.
Every once in a while, I'll get up there talking to somebody and forget. But so I never wanted to run the floor, but I was good at it. You know, we needed it, and then I just went outside and started working at the door. And then he came along, wet behind the ears. You know,
pretty wet.
with a little schoolboy outfit, a little shorts. on,
Hi,
My name's Stewie.
They made us wear a tie.
I've never seen titties before.
you know? And you know, we, you know, the rest, as they say, is history. You know, you can take it from there.
I'll take it from there.
I don't remember much. I was drinking back then.
Yeah, you were. You were a wild animal back then. Fuck.
I was having a good time.
Yeah.
The
So
point I was making, real fast though, circling back to the days at Manor and Rhino, those all hold a special place in my heart because, like, I made some really good friends back then because we were just getting banged up all the time and having a great time. And you're like actually learning a business, kind of, you know what I mean? There was people that would come and go, and God bless them, you know. But like for some of us that were like, I don't want to say we're going to make a career out of this. I didn't realize that I was going to make a career out of this until probably when I got to TAO. But like, you realize that like you start to understand what doing good business is, you know, and like the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it, and mistakes get made, and you know all the stuff that goes with any business, you know. And that was really cool, and I got to do that with some really cool people. A lot of them, some of them I still work with today, but a lot of them I'm still friends with. But that was a great time. And then I think like when Underground reopened, I still drank and shit, but like it was much more like, all right, I need to start like planning a life here and start doing something. There's a lot of money here that I don't need to be throwing over a bar every day, or like spending half your tips at the bar you work at and getting shit hammered. You know, it was like, so that became a principal part of what I was doing.
okay, back to when I met Morgan.
Yeah, we're 2015.
2015.
Imagine
2016.
like a Brad Pitt came over the hill on the horse, and
That was you?
That's how you first saw me.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him! He's
it like-
magnificent.
Like Legends of the Fall. I was like an Indian in the forest or something.
You were like the horse, and I was like, Brad Pitt, just his hair gliding, jawline like a razor. You know, no, that wasn't how it was.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Well, I started working for Morgan, and you know, I just took tips from it, like everything he's taught. Like, make the club money first, and your career will be very successful and long. I mean, he's proof of it. He's LeBron James of freaking the club business.
I don't flop, bro.
Oh no. But I mean, I just started learning, and then I remember I had an opportunity. I started just like him. I go out and party. Meet people. That's how I got I'm pretty sure how I got the job at Underground. I went there drinking after I got fired, and I was hired the next day.
There's a fine line in our business between partying and networking.
Yeah.
A blurred,
It's the same-
a blurred.
it's the same
oh yeah,
line.
it's like a line in the desert during a windstorm. Okay, you don't know where that motherfucker's gonna be 5 feet one way or the other. The liners are lines being optimal word with some people. You know, that's always. But it was funny you say that because like getting into a
Line
leadership
triggered
role.
him.
No, getting into a leadership role, you start to be like, you know, well, what are you doing to network? Well, I went out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, so you went out and got shit hammered. Well, you talked to the bartender. You know, like that isn't real networking. And part of a big part of what I learned over all these years, and you know, with some great people around me and stuff, was like the art of real networking and stuff. You know, I always had it pretty easy because I was working at the front door and I get to meet people there. You know, but even that, you know, there's an art to it. Like, you know, giving out your card, taking people's info down, blah blah blah. Yeah. But also like, you know, doing your standard stuff. A lot of people don't know what like good hosts do to like have their job, and if they want to be successful at it, there's a lot of stuff. Talking to going to buildings, talking to leasing agents at apartment buildings, talking to concierges and different people who work at the hotels and doormen and stuff like that, making random contacts with random people. And we have like a 3-person, 10-person a night. You want to try to like between 3 and 10 people a night. You want to get contact info off random people in the club. When you're some random kid from Schaumburg or the South Side or wherever you're from, right? And somebody who works at the club comes up to you, hey, how you doing? You having a good time? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, it's great. Oh, you ever need anything? Here's my card. Hit me up, And they text you to say thanks, and now you've got another contact. This is a person who maybe they have an office party every year. Maybe when they do their bottles for their birthday, they're going to use you, Yeah. That's how you build a book of business up, And teaching younger kids that and learning from my mistakes over the years and passing that knowledge on has been a great joy of my life.
Yeah, it worked.
Having a book of business is the one thing that everyone has always said about you. Before I knew you really, like, I knew who you were. You worked at Underground, this and that, and I'd ask, Dolo, who's been in the game longer than me, Architect, who's been in the game, anyone who I knew, and I could tell that someone was important, I'd be like, who is that dude? You know what I mean? Right. And when your name was always synonymous with having an incredible book of business.
You guys want to know that what's great about his book of business that I learned is that like most of his like big clients were like clients he got into a fucking argument with, like called a dickhead or something. I got all this money. Here's my card. Go, all right, $5,000 minimum. Boom. And that's how Morgan met his clients. Like these guys aren't talked to that way, but Morgan keeps it real with them. And then like, that's his book of business right there.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. There's definitely a part of it that was that. There's a lot of, aggressive meetings at the door with people and stuff. But, it also, like, I was very lucky, man. I met a lot of good people and I was around for a long time and people would know who I was and know that they could, take care of me, count on me. And like, if they weren't going out all the time, when they come up to the door to see a friendly face there, that was always good for them. But I was very lucky to work at the places I did with the people I did and meet a lot of great people, a lot of which I'm still friends with today, a lot of which who are, my great book of business is like, if I was selling insurance, it'd be great, Not so many people are doing bottle service anymore. I still have a lot of great contacts, don't get me wrong, but like, people age out of it, and, but like I said, I'm still friends with a lot of these people, and I was at a time, there was a long time and nobody did more business than me. Like nobody, I'm not saying that to be cocky, but it's just a fact that there was probably a good 10-year run in Chicago when I was probably knocking it out of the park harder, more than anybody else did.
Yep.
And that was a lot of work. And, I am thankful for all the people that made that happen. And to be honest with you, this is going to sound super cheesy, and I guess it is, but like, I was always really happy, like that the busters were getting paid, the servers were getting paid, it's security. I would tell everybody, tip my security, tip everybody, and knowing that like guys were getting out of there and people were paying for school and houses and kids and different shit like that, always made me feel good, and you could say the same for anybody that's producing any business, I guess, but in a cheesy way, that always kind of was like something that motivated me a lot,
Yep.
And being able to walk around and talk shit to everybody and be like, shut the fuck up, fucking, I'm the one that counts. I used to say that stupid ass line. I used to say like, your questions have, your sentences have question marks. Mine have periods. Like,
well,
shit, bro. Shit.
I'm proof of that too, because I remember when I was just a security guard, like low level.
I don't like that. There's no justice.
I mean, compared to where I am now, I would take care of his clients and I would always I would go home with good money every night. When I was like that age, 22, 23, going home with $500 cash. Bro. Like I thought I was the man.
You remember that when
and I would go spend $200 at the bar, an hour after that. But
you remember those nights when like you went from working, for me personally, like when I went from working like shift pay money, and then you remember the first time you get tipped like $40 and you're like,
yep,
wow, cool, man. That's like 2 hours work, 3 hours work after taxes,
I still remember my first
I got down to the door at Reserve and it was like, man moment machine, it was like the right guy at the right time in the right place. And like the other hosts there didn't want to work the door. And they were like, no, I'm going to go upstairs and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, see you later. Like, me and my 3 buddies, $100 a head. No problem, bro. Here you go. And I'm like, fuck, and then now you're going home with real cash sometimes, and that's now, there's nights, we don't need to get all numerical with it, but there was nights where it got pretty lucrative,
Bro,
for long
yeah.
periods of time.
There was a run when I was at Bottle where I was just going
No,
home.
I mean, people, it's great.
Fat pockets.
Fat
Yeah, it was
pockets.
good stuff.
I remember my first service industry job was at Butch McGuire's. I was working Ross loss prevention before that at Ross Dress for Less.
Wait.
Let's get on this. Come on.
You were stopping people from stealing panties?
I
at
was
Ross?
that guy, yeah.
So you were the panty sniffer at Ross?
Like they're discounted used panties at Ross.
Yeah,
You were-
I had
Let
to.
me ask you a question.
No,
how,
no,
many,
he's
how,
like-
how many of the returns did you keep? What did the girl have to look like for you to keep her returns?
Dude, like thinking
Do you
back,
have any on you now?
thinking back to this time, it doesn't even feel like it was me. Like I think back to it and I see it as a memory from like a bird's eye view. Like I don't even see it from my own eyes. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know
Did
that
you have a
feeling
uniform?
100%. Like I remember working
Yeah.
on.
It was like black slacks and I had a button-up shirt and I had the little name tag.
I remember
strategy,
standing
little
there.
strategy, or was it Zachary?
It said Zach.
I got to. I started working downtown later. Like 28, 29 years old, right? And I remember thinking there was times when like crazy shit, flying private jets and like drive around in limos with like famous people and shit. I'm in a limo one time with Lionel Richie and Mark Cuban, like and me, like on a Wednesday.
It's insane.
Dumb shit, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean anything, but what I would think about sometimes is like, I would think about cold ass nights working on a fucking truck dock, like busting my ass out there. It's like dog shit jobs I had and the dudes I had worked with and laughed with and had beers with, and I was just thankful, man. I was just always, I had always a lot of feeling of being thankful that I got to do the type, and to this day, they got to do the things I get to do, and if I lost that, that would take the joy out of it for me. Like to me, it's still like I pull up at work and it's like, I get to do this,
Yeah.
It's like, it's something I really enjoy. And I think when COVID kind of took it away and we, whatever everything happened at TAO, I didn't go back immediately when they opened the club back up because it was like, man, Lifefoot's going to shut us down next week again anyway or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like they called me up and my boss was like, I'm not going to name him, but my two bosses were like, you're coming back. And I'm like, no, I don't think I got, I'm thinking about other stuff now.
Did it feel like?
And they're like, no, you're coming back.
Did it feel?
And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm really not. They're like, you're coming back. And I'm like, I can't, like I'm not going to do this life again. I'm married now. I think this is the world telling me
Like a
it's time
wake-up
for a
call,
reset, and he's like, no, you're coming back. And he's like, I'll see you Friday, and I was like, he's like, come in and talk to me during the day. And I went and I'm like, all right, I owe you that much. I'll come and talk to you, but whatever. And I went and talked to him and the two of them sat there and they're like, I'm like, I'm going through the same shit. I want to like get my weekends back. I want to get a normal 9 to 5 and do normal type shit. And they're like, yeah, bro, this is you. You're the best person at this.
That's a fact.
Like, you need to do this. Like, why you're coming back? And it was funny. And I was just like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. and I came home and told my wife, and she's like, you caved, didn't you? I'm like, oh, I caved so hard. And she was like, they got you. I'm like, they knew exactly what to say to me. Like, you're the best. We need your rock. You gotta get in here. I was like, all right. So, and then I think at that point, I was like, all right, now I'm really going next level. I'm not drinking at work anymore, period. So like I'll maybe do a shot with a customer here or there. I don't
Networking.
think
Purely
networking.
networking.
Yeah, pure networking. I don't think I've been drunk in the building. Like, it's like, it's really just business. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it makes me a better partner and father. And, not to say that anybody has to have a couple drinks, is it? But for me, it's like, I need to compartmentalize.
Throwing shade at me.
No, I'm not. Like,
I'm joking
if I
with
had a
you.
vacuous life where I was probably going to die alone, I'd do the same thing you did, bro. Big deal. It's no big deal, man. Like, hey, the world needs you. Like, The world needs you, baby. Like, come on. Like, I mean, you know how this story ends.
I'm just trying to make up for you, bro.
That's okay, man. Listen.
You got to carry on the legacy.
I gotta carry on the legacy.
Someone's got to do it.
I'm going to send the biggest wreath. I'm talking like one of them horseshoes made out of roses.
That's beautiful.
It's just going to be nice. Wait, what am I talking about? I'll be dead 20 years before you.
Is there someone like Morgan passed this down to you, right? Is there someone that you're passing it down to? I mean, you owe that to somebody.
I do owe that to somebody because the way Morgan taught me and like kind of like instilled with me, but there hasn't been anyone that's like worth it. To be honest, like a lot of these
we're a dying breed. This is a dying position.
It's a dying position. And like it's just dying overall in the industry to pass on because the new guys, the new kids coming up, they're not great. They kind of suck.
The vibe isn't like
they are getting into this. Like going back to what you said, they're getting into this to be like, I work at Joy District, or
like
I don't
clout.
mean to. That's the name I popped up.
Right.
They use it for the clout. I deserve half off. Give me 60% off. Like when I started in the industry, I learned like go introduce yourself first. That's why I have good contacts now that I'm able to go. I go to places and like I'm not going to drive. Bartenders will know me, be like, oh, I'm going to take really good care of Stewart because I know he's going to tip me well. Mm-hmm. These kids aren't even tipping. They're expecting
It's a different world. Nobody even has like a shimmer of hope where you can...
No, man, don't say that. I mean, there's good people out there. I just think
I haven't found my protege.
No, I mean, because there's not room, man. This is a 2-man rowboat, buddy, and you ain't kicking me off, Playboy. I'm be out there talking about like...
Come on, man, pony up. Come on. The same bullshit still for 30 years.
You know, listen, I gotta get
a wheelchair.
Yeah, wheelchair. I'm gonna have Frank out there just
with an
not
IV
saying a word.
With an IV.
My dad says you owe him some money.
You're like the dude from Breaking Bad with the bell.
Yeah. Just like with the
no. But like, I think when I say it's a dying breed, a dying kind of position, it's just like it takes a certain person because like there's a lot of machismo going around right now, like, you know, but there's also, man, there's been a lot of times people have talked a lot of shit to us and, you know, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, back in the day when I first started, it was like, hey, man, you're a fag. I'm like, well, yeah, crack. You knock the guy out. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Security's running his pockets, you know. Like, now, you're like, you can't do that stuff no more, man.
No more.
100 years ago.
It's like
but now it's just like people know.
Yeah.
And they know they're on camera. And they know there's probably someone filming right there. And one of your guys is probably filming, or security has a body camera. But they know to grift. Yeah. And they know that it doesn't matter. And they can say whatever they want to say to you without any worry about getting knocked out or anything like that. So they do, you know. And you see it.
My dad's a lawyer. I'll sue you.
Or not even that. Just like guys will just sit there and just talk mad shit to you.
Yeah.
And won't leave. So you have to call the cops and get them to leave. And then the cops show up and they're like, fuck you, toy cop. What are you going to do? You can't do nothing either.
Seriously.
You ain't shit. You ain't shit, cop. I mean, like... And it's like, this is Wendell from Winnetka over here that normally I would have smacked the living shit out of, but this is what we deal with. You know, it's like, what are you going to do about it? You know,
now we just ignore them now.
Yeah, that's
but
all
they'll sit out there.
Like,
I'm getting paid to stand out here. You're just standing out here just for no reason.
Yeah,
it's a sorry existence for some people that they get their rocks off like that. But that's, you know. I mean, that's few and far between at this point, and you take the good with the bad, like everything. You know, we talked about earlier. You know, like everybody has bad days at work. You know,
that's a fact.
I think like over the course of time, the game has changed a lot. You know, I think a lot of it's relatively still the same. You know, people want to come in, forget about life, get banged up, have a good time, maybe get laid. You know.
There's nothing that beats the feeling of being secure and protected while commuting in the city. Kinfolk Concierge is Chicagoland's premier armed chauffeur service. Their expertise range in services that provide VIP, car services, and personal protection. DM with the code STRATEGY or give them a call and let them know you saw this promo on the podcast for 30% off of your next ride. That's a 30% discount. That's a big discount. That makes a $100 ride $70. Don't hesitate to book your next elite level experience. Contact Kinfolk Concierge today. Back to the episode. Just to put a bow on the last little segment there, I think you should definitely find someone to pass the gift on to, because that was something that Eddie Mills, R.I.P., told
I love
me
Eddie.
for sure.
Oh, man.
He was like,
guy.
architect gave you this opportunity, and it's definitely something that we do for each other, and you need to definitely do for someone
Last
else.
time I was drunk at TAO was probably at the Eddie Mills memorial thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And me and Courtney were just drunk in White Shadow, and we were bballing. Bawling. Like, give me a whiskey. Yeah. We were dying, man. Eddie was such a boy, man. I love that guy. He was
guy.
just... He's just such a funny, smart dude, like a rare intellect, that guy, you know. And I think people saw him in a certain way because he put himself out there in a certain way, and he didn't really give too much of a fuck about things.
Yeah.
But he was a really kind, wonderful human being, man. And
Incredible
a smart,
dude.
funny guy.
Yeah.
Someone that, you know, I got to know pretty well at UG, and I'll always have a special place in my heart for that man.
The guy, he always said hello, no
He was
matter
just
where
a
he was,
good fucking dude, man. Like, and you know,
no matter what.
we used to run jokes, me and him, man. He was so out there. He'd say some wild shit. He was good, man. Bless up, Eddie.
Yeah.
Wherever he is, man, I hope he got a cold cocktail in his hand,
For sure.
living for the Lord.
Hell yeah.
Rest in peace, Ed, buddy.
Speaking of Eddie, we can get into some music talk, because he was definitely a very knowledgeable man about music.
Yeah.
And see, I think that's this is gonna, once again, this is gonna sound like old man talk, you know. But like the DJs I came up with, the guys like AM, right? Not to say I came up with, but like who were popular at the time, you know. And there's guys, Stone Rock and Graham Funk, guys out of LA that came to Chicago a lot. And I love these guys because they were just music junkies. Like, we talk about everything, you know. There's a guy named Ian Callery, who was I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. But he was one of the investors at Reserve, and he was a DJ himself, and he was an Irish cat from Dublin, and he had a couple buddies of his that would come around too, and they were all the same way, and they were Euro, and they were into cool shit. You know, they listened to like Air and like all these, you know, French DJ bands and shit like that. But you know, I used to love like even Architect and Eddie definitely, you know, and White Shadow is another guy who was always around.
I'm trying to get him on the pod.
He's great.
Yeah.
And we used to talk music all the time, and it was like, I'm going to say this, and this isn't a knock on anybody, but it's just like these guys were more like musicians in a way, where like they loved music and knew everything, and like myself, they just had to know everything about music and read liner notes and albums, and like knew the history of this and the history of that scene and different stuff, you know. And all of us, I think, were in my age group, which a lot of these guys had you know, hip hop was big for us, you know, and like you came up with, you know, hearing that stuff, hearing, you know, NWA and Easy and all the different things for the first time, and you know, that all has had a special place in your heart. But like, also knew multi genres of music and knew things about music theory and just, it was great conversation type stuff with it. And I think moving into nowadays, it's much more of like, I want to learn to DJ. I'm going to learn how to do the things that DJs do. And it's much more beat driven than anything else. And it's like a lot of effects and not a lot of, when you think about like mashups and things like that, you know, finding a song that's in this key to go into the other song and make it sound right, or has the same timing to get into this other song. And you don't just see that so much anymore. And what you see is a lot of guys that are, you know, up there pretending like they're pressing buttons and doing shit that are just putting in a zip drive and letting some shit play, you know?
Yeah. It's more like,
We're talking about this at work the other day too. Remember we were having this conversation about like when you get somebody that's up there and they build up a crescendo and like and you're ready and then they miss the drop.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, you had one fucking job, dude.
Yeah.
Like, how, you know, you
like,
see a lot of that stuff going on.
I feel like a lot of DJs are kind of like cloud chasing because they want to take a video of them fist pumping and doing that to the crowd for a bunch of people. That's what I feel like now.
Else. It's like you see DJs that are up there on their phone.
Yeah.
Like as disengaged, and then wondering why, oh man, people in the crowd are different. people they're different, man. The crowds are different now. Everybody says,
you're supposed to pay attention to the crowd. I know strategy. He'll feel the
man,
crowd out.
no, not to jerk you off, but you always had a good reputation of like, you know, playing crowd music and like being there and animated and like in you know, DJ's a job where you don't get to check out. You know, you can't phone it in because you sound like shit.
Yeah.
And you know better than I know that there's a lot of guys that do that. And I'm sure you've had other DJs on to talk about this stuff. And, you know, there's certain guys, and I'm not going to go into it because I'm no expert and I don't want anyone nitpicking what I do for a living. But there's guys that are just checked out and kind of phoning it in up there. You know what I mean? They want to say I'm the DJ and I work at this club and I do this and I do that. Yeah. But like, what are you doing? Are you working on your music? Even some guys that suck, like at least they're trying to do different shit and they're trying to do their own thing. You know, it's like, as opposed to like literally going online and downloading a set from somebody and just putting that out there like it's your own shit.
Yeah. I feel
you know that. I mean, you know more about it than we do. Is that kind of the thing, or is my way off? Am I way off?
No, it's definitely become more of a position of being the cool guy than it is a guy who knows a lot about music and knows how to use music to get energy out of a crowd.
Right.
It's become more of like a social media. Look at me. I want my friends to come out and see me.
Kind of like every fucking thing else.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been taken advantage of.
I'm like becoming a social media separatist, and like I think that you're going to see a low tech revolution. You're going to see in the near future. You're going to see people who are like raising their kids, and people who are. I know a lot of people already. I'm on like a 3-week off, 1 week on relationship with it right now, and it's even getting to that. Like I went back on like yesterday and downloaded Instagram and Facebook, and I was already arguing with some fucking idiot, you know. And but the thing is, you look in the mirror and you're like, wait, I'm an idiot, and I'm arguing with another idiot, and this is the definition of idiocy. You know, it's like, what the fuck do I know about like homicide rates in Chicago? But here I am, blah, 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 with all the other idiots. You know, people need to understand that there's a reason that a lot of people don't have a voice for so long.
You got to earn that.
It was probably a good thing.
Yeah, you know? If you want a voice,
most people are morons and they don't need to have their stuff out there.
But it's crazy. Like you say, you got to earn that. But like I feel like nowadays, like people are like getting million of followers out of nowhere.
That's it. I'm out here. Listen to me. Yeah. This is what I was saying earlier about like, you know, everybody's with not. I don't. When I say people think they're a snowflake, I don't mean like, oh, you're soft, you're a snowflake. I mean like people think they're like so independently and different, and like I'm very. You need to hear what I have to say in my world. No, we don't. Like you don't need mine either. Like your life is going to be just fine. My life is going to be if we don't have interaction along the lines of this, what social media brings to the table. And what do you end up with? Is a bunch of people talking a bunch of shit. Now you've got what is truth and what isn't truth.
That's a tough one.
It is. Every like single 2 + 2 is 4, right? Maybe not anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Every single
seriously,
day.
Like if 10 years ago I came and started talking to you about gender studies and that, you know, there's not men and women in it, you would have thought I was crazy. But now here we are. And what's next? You know?
Every single day that goes on, it becomes more and more difficult to decipher what is true and what is false. Yeah. On the internet, especially. I mean, we know in real life, like we have eyes and we've grown up in this world, and you know what you know, but then you get on the internet and you're like, what's happening here? Yeah.
Because you just can do whatever you want and say whatever you want, and like no one gets punched in the face, and also not even no one gets punched in the face, but you can't even tell someone they're wrong because what they'll do is, and this is a big picture thing, but like you've got everything is compromised. Universities are compromised. Media is compromised. You go on. One newspaper tells a story this way. The next one, it's editorial. It's not fact based, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go into, you know, you have fucking people in colleges that are indoctrinating kids to think this is this and this is it's a joke, and it goes both ways. And I'm not trying to say like I was a Democrat. I still am. I'm a Democrat my whole life, but it's like I look at the things that are going on now, and it's like, what in the hell? When did it come to this? Like. When I was a Democrat in 1994, the first time I got to vote, right? Like, that would make me a Republican now. Like, that's crazy, right?
I was
First
three.
election, 94.
I was 4.
You know, and it's nuts. It's just crazy the way things swing like that. But certainly, let's get off the politics.
Yeah, he's
Just kids.
No, I think there is. I think you're right. There is going to be a low tech revolution for
I'll tell you
sure.
right now,
Hopefully.
on my kids, there's no way Frank is going to have a cell phone when he's 8 years old that does anything aside from call his parents.
He's not going to be an iPad kid.
Dude, he ain't an iPad kid already. And listen, God bless anybody who raises their kid whatever way. I'm going to tell you, the number one thing I learned about raising kids in the 2.5 years I've been at it is it's hard as fuck, okay? And I am not here to coach anybody on it. I'm just trying to keep my head above water and keep my, moral compasses pointing in the right direction in this. But like we do very little screen time with Frank and it's more of a challenge to us to put my phone down. And there's another big thing about getting rid of social media. Put your phone down, talk to the kid. Because you see all these kids nowadays with all these problems and ADD and everything that's going on. What does it circle back to? Parents are working now. They don't spend real quality time with their parents. Mothers are working, not at home where they used to be. Fathers are working. People are working extra shifts. And then when they come home, they've got all their shit to do. And they've got to be on their screens. And they're going to do this. And where's your kid get? Or do you get an hour out of you a day? God has blessed me by giving me the job that I have to where I can work at night a few days a week and do everything else I need to do during the week and get my job done on the phone. I'm lucky, very, very lucky to be able to spend as much time with my kids and shit as I can. And I just want them to be good people. And I don't think the answer to being good people is going to be found on social media, looking at Kardashian's ass or looking at any of this number of different things. No, but it's just, this isn't, you're not going to find truth there, man, and I'm not saying you got like, I don't want the kid to be unrounded, but at the same time, it's just like, there's nothing out there. Just more people looking for answers, talking shit. Like, fuck that, man.
Yeah.
Go fucking out and piss on a tree or something, man. Like the type of shit I like Frank doing.
I am really excited to have a job where I work at night when I have a kid, because I feel like that's so perfect.
It is. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a piece of shit because I have 2 different nannies. Okay. So I'm going to throw that out there.
I was going to say, don't you have someone watching your kids?
Tuesday, Thursday nanny, Monday, Wednesday, Friday nanny. But anyway, that's me. I like to get my gym time in, have some personal time, but we still spend a ton of time together. And I also think that, as Frank's like 2.5 now, and it's getting to the point where he's going to have to start going to school and being around people. So it's great, But I just really hope that I can keep him at this level where he's at, with him not being like very screeny and like all that type of stuff. There's just a whole world of other things out there, athletics and going in the woods and doing all kinds of different shit. My grandfather used to take us to walk in the woods and look at shit. Like, that's the type of stuff I want him doing, not sitting here looking, like
iPad kid.
We all are burdened by the disease of our cell phones, 100%. I mean, I can't even I go to use it for something good and productive, like to write a note or something. Or
on Pornhub.
Okay, watch this. Get your phone out. I'm gonna get your calculator up.
He doesn't know where it is.
I do know where it is.
Get your calculator up. All right. Let's say you're on your phone 2 hours a day, right? So 2
times 7.
No, times 365. That's 730 hours a year, right? Am I doing that right?
2 hours a day, yeah. 2 times 365, yeah.
Now 730 times 10. 7,300. Okay. Now divide that by 24. Okay. In 10 years, you spent almost a year on the phone.
That's only 2 hours a day, too.
And that's only 2 hours a day, which is total bullshit because everybody's on their phone way more.
Way
that's
more.
304
Show the camera.
Right? That you've been on your phone over a 10-year period, which is, like I said, almost 365 days is a year. So you're almost at a year's
worth of 10 years. You almost lost a whole year in a decade.
10 years, you lost 1 year. So you lived 80 years. That means you lived 72 years because 8 years of that, 8 of those years you were on your phone.
Yeah.
How fucked up is that to think about? And like I said, that's being super polite. So let's just change that to 4 hours a day, which I think is much more normal.
Yeah,
right?
it's probably pretty
you don't have
average.
to do it. So I can tell you, it's 604. right?
It's double,
which is,
yeah.
Shake a bag.
which is almost 2 years in a course of 10-year
While
period.
while you're talking, I'm gonna check my.
Yeah,
Think about how banged up that is, man.
it's
You know?
crazy. I'm just programmed that when my hand goes in my pocket and I pull my phone out, I flick up the thing and I
Yep.
just go to Instagram.
100%.
No matter what I wanted to do in the
100%.
first place.
Dude,
That's just
I'll go
what
downstairs.
happens.
I'll go downstairs and I'll lay in bed, right? Shower, shit, shaved, all ready to go to bed. Go lay down. I got my book. I got my glasses, right? I got my phone. I'll put my glasses on, pick up my book, and I'll get a text message. Cancer. Get that text. Stu, blah, blah, blah. I love you, bro.
Had a couple drinks after
I
you
think
left,
she
bro.
loves me. Why
I
am I
miss
like?
her.
Why am I like this?
Shut
No.
up, go to bed.
But anyway, like, and then reels. And dude, you know
dude,
what's
those
even
are
more
killer,
messed
bro.
up, man? If you look at the reels and what, it's all algorithm based, they know what you like, and then you start seeing what they're sending you, and it's like, man, this is who I am,
What do you get, like naked midgets or something?
No, I get weird shit, man, like unclogging beaver dams in the wild. I don't know if you guys have ever seen videos like that.
I mean, I would've just
big
said yes to the midgets.
I'll watch like 25-minute landscaping videos where they like take a bushy ass house and they clean all of it and cut it all back.
Every once in a while I'll do that.
Oh, that's satisfying.
I think that's just like the Mexican in me.
To
I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's weird. You see like all your NBA stuff. I get a lot of NBA stuff on there and different shit. I don't know. It's funny, but it's like that's 10:30, right? And then it's 1 a.m, and I'm like, what the hell just happened?
And your
You know what I
brain's
mean?
just mush.
Mush. Now think about that. Your brain is running in 20, 15, 30, 40, 60-second cycles. On to the next, on to the next, on to the next. What does that do to you at our age, my age, your age? Think about what that does to a kid that starts living like that when he's 8 years old.
Yeah, that's no way
What
to
is
do
your
it.
mind going to be like? How are you going to expect kids to concentrate on anything? And they don't. So what do? They change the curriculum in schools. They say you don't got to learn this. You don't got to do this. Don't learn. I'm telling you, man.
It's
this is
crazy.
how
Yeah, no, it's
all-
crazy.
it all goes together. Well, that's not important. Teaching kids cursive isn't important. Doing times tables isn't
Are
important.
you going to sign your name and
It's all important, dude. But what it does is it teaches you how to do certain things that we all need to learn how to do. It teaches you to be part of a collective and part of a system. And breaking that whole thing apart, when you, in the name of helping out one kid or individual kid, dude, the way society works is people get left behind.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Evolution.
Like you look at a herd of animals. What happens to the weak animal? He gets taken out by the lions, or he gets left behind because he can't follow them anymore, and that's how it goes. But
It's
we
not
want
like
to stop that and take care. And this is where we're at. And then everybody becomes weaker, and everything gets dumbed down.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we went really far away from.
Yeah, I mean,
TJ.
I
We'll
hope
come
this- I
back.
hope
We'll
this-
come back. We'll bring it full circle. I mean,
Hopefully-
you know,
hopefully this episode doesn't get
You asked for
canceled
it, man.
again.
You guys
as
asked for
a
it.
distracted man myself, I feel the pain of the things that you're talking about, and I only got a cell phone, and it's not even really the cell phone; it's like social media, right? So like Instagram, I downloaded probably in 2012 or something.
Sure. Like
So maybe
everybody
it's
else.
been 10 years, 12 years only, and my
Jesus,
brain
I was way
was
too
at least somewhat developed by that time, and I'm feeling the effects of it 100%. I'm eternally distracted. It's I pace around my house. I go to do the dishes, but then I'm like, wait, I got to do this, and I do that, and then I go back to the dishes, and I got to do that. And I just live my life like
my
that.
wife is substantially younger than me.
You just had to throw that in. You had to throw,
no, just a
you had to
little
throw
bit.
that in.
but it's funny because she's what I like to call a real person, like a good person.
Yeah.
Like she
What's that?
not us, pal.
All right, okay.
Like she has a drink, and eats a couple fries. Control, but also like with her phone, like she'll put her phone up and won't look at it for 4 hours. And I one of the 1,000 ways she's 10 times better than me, but like I really admire that, and it's fucked up to think I admire that because 20 years ago nobody had a phone and it wasn't a thing. That's another crazy thing to think about with this. Yeah, right. Like 15 years ago, this was not a thing. There were no iPhones. No one cared. You used your phone. Even I remember as it started with text messaging because people would text all the time. Prior to that, prior to like 2000, when there was no texting on phones, think about that. Like, seriously, all you people, think about it. What did you do? Take social media, internet scrolling, and text messaging out of your life right now today. Gone, right? What do?
You would do something that you actually enjoy. You would do something, you would spend your time.
I'm just asking a question. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Like, as everyone who listens to this podcast, think about like no podcasts. There's no social media. You're not going on websites. You're not shopping online. You're not texting anyone ever. So if you want to communicate with someone, you can call them on the phone or write them a fucking letter, or
you bike over
go
to their
see
crib.
them exactly, and we hang out. You know, so when we talk about. We're circling back to bars, right? I think this is a big thing people are starting to talk about now. And a lot more people aren't going out. And they're living their life virtually on a phone, via text, via social, via all this shit. There's a crazy number about the amount of sex people are having, and with like the amount of kids that are just non-sexual at this point. You know, they're getting their rocks off and doing whatever they do virtually, and they're just not out there living in the world doing the thing. Not like used to, where I struck out.
A win's a win.
You porn. It's like they just stay home on you porn. At least you tried. You know,
That's true.
Even a blind squirrel even a blind stew finds a nut sometimes. No. But you know what I mean? Like, it's heavy when you think about it, man. Shout out to Jay Heavy. No, but it's like, think about it. It's like there's a whole other thing we have to talk about. Like, where are people at? And then half the people that are out, what are they doing the whole time they're out?
Fucking.
Oh, I wish I was somewhere else.
My life's a movie.
What is this person doing? What is this person? Or then the class. Oh, I'm gonna show everybody where I am.
And then stand back in the corner.
Oh God, man! I remember like when I was a fucking loser. 10 years ago, when I would go like to places and go to a concert, the first thing I did would be like, oh, there's a video. That's like what? Play it back, some grainy ass shitball video, or post it.
Yeah,
come on, man. We're better than that. We're better than that as a species.
I think that we're noticing that. I mean, you're talking about it. We're talking about it. I talk to people all the time that feel the same way, and I think it's going to be like cigarettes, like where everyone smokes cigarettes because that's just what everyone did.
Cigarettes are coming back,
and they are.
I'll tell you right now,
they are coming back.
Cigarettes are going to come back in a big way. Just like social interactions are going to come back in a big way. Just like drinking is going to come back in a big way. Just like sex is going to come back in a big way. People, all these things, just like getting rid of all this. Like, I just got done vaping. I quit smoking like 8 years ago, and I immediately started vaping. Vaping is 10 times worse than cigarettes. I don't care what anybody tells you. This is going to be one of them things where like 40 years from now, I'm going to have an eye on the side of my head or I'm going to cough out a whole lung or something from this vaping shit. The thing about vaping is I would sit there. If I was still vaping, I would have done a half a vape while I was sitting here right now. Mm-hmm. Constantly. When I'm in the bathroom, when I'm taking a shit, when I'm in bed at night, everywhere I go, when I'm on a fucking airplane, fuck what they tell you. You put on a little rubber band around your wrist and you hit it like this the whole fucking time.
He's a pioneer in everything.
Everywhere I go, just constantly vaping. When I smoked, I'd smoke 5-10 cigarettes a day, maybe sometime, or maybe more, depending on how much I was smoking. But that was it. And you smoke half the square and you get rid of it, and then you go on with your life because you couldn't do it anywhere all the time. You know what I mean? That's why I think that's coming back. I think the same thing with don't eat meat, don't eat dairy. Well, everybody's sick as shit. Eating all this processed garbage.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that, man. If I'm gonna go out. Like, let me go out with a belly full of steak and eggs, motherfucker. Like, I ain't trying to fucking eat all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And then they shove it down your throat.
Isn't some of that shit worse for you, too?
And getting fucked up is the same thing. Everybody's taking all these fucking crazy ass drugs laced with God knows what, man.
Exactly.
You drink your sorrows away like a fucking man. You fucking put them down. You drink your fucking feelings back down inside you, and you shut the fuck up and you get up and go to work.
Right. We're getting crazy. Things are going off the rails again. We want this pod to come out.
This
Let's
is legit
reel
stuff.
it back
I'm not going to tell you not to play this. I'm not going to. I will not reel this back. This is legit shit. I'm telling you.
I swear to God,
no, this is
we're
real.
not
This is
this
real.
There's nothing here to be canceled.
I'll be honest. If I
listen, if telling kids not to do drugs and have a beer is cancelable, then where are we?
It's definitely not canceled.
I'm talking about us.
If
This
telling people
podcast.
not to eat dog shit food and eat organic, eat steak,
Eat steak.
eat vegetables, like that's what you should eat.
Fuck yeah.
I'm not ashamed of this shit.
Fuck yeah.
Put all the processed shit up. I'm telling you right now, I would rather see my kid smoke a cigarette than puffing on a vape.
Yeah.
I would rather have him do neither. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Rather have him do neither. But in the alternatives, I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
You know what tobacco is.
I will be honest, if I didn't have a girlfriend that I wanted to hold on to and cherish so dearly, I'd probably start smoking cigarettes. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life.
Let me tell you something about smoking cigarettes, pal. Last weekend, I went to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with my friend Jeff McGee. And Jeff McGee has a great business where he runs people's charities for them. And one of the people's charities he runs is a baseball player in Philadelphia, whose name I'm not going to mention just because I don't want anyone associated with this. Anyway, we went to Philadelphia. And when I left, I quit vaping for about a week. And Olivia said to me, she said, when you get to Philadelphia, you're going to drink. And I said, when I get on a plane, I'm probably going to drink. But okay, let's call it plane Philadelphia. It's like, it's an 8:30 flight. I'm like, it's noon somewhere. We knew when I land.
Yeah.
You know? No, but, and she said to me, she said, promise me you won't vape there. And I'm like, and she's like, I want you to buy cigarettes. She's like, if you have to do something, smoke. Because I know you'll smoke. And then when you come home, you'll get rid of them and won't smoke anymore. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. So when I got to Philadelphia, I vaped because I'm a liar. And then I said, but I didn't want to, you know. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm going to go buy a pack of cigarettes. So we met some guy at a bar. We ended up driving around South Philly, going to random bars. It was pretty fun. But I went and bought a pack of Marlboro mediums, and that's what I used to smoke. And I smoked the rest of the time we were there, and it was great. And I was in a casino there, and you could smoke inside the casino there.
wow.
It was amazing.
Sounds like
Gambling
a good
and
time.
smoking and, you know, shooing away prostitutes. It was wonderful. It was like the way things used to be. And I got on. We took a train the next day to New York City. I smoked a few cigs there too. And then when I got in the airport Wednesday morning to come back to Chicago, I threw the rest of the cigarettes in the garbage. And that was it.
And you've been thinking about them ever since.
Yes, because cigarettes are fucking awesome. Anyone who tells you cigarettes aren't awesome is a coward. Okay? And don't get me wrong. I know they've killed lots of people and all that kind of stuff. The numbers on which are crazy. If people are starting to deep dive like cancer numbers in relation to smoking. It's like you're like 8% more likely to die
reel
past,
did you see
past
that
the
on?
age of 72. Not reels, man. No, but cigarettes are great, and they're great for you, and they look really cool. And anyone who tells you different is a coward. Remember that. I'll just say that one.
Oh,
It's
no,
our
they are
sponsor.
definitely coming back though. I mean, I just watched Kill Tony. Like they did a show at the Kia Forum or whatever, big show I had to get to see, and everybody on the panel was just sitting there smoking cigs.
Yeah, because cigarettes are awesome.
And I'm like, cigarettes are coming back.
And not
Vapes
those
are-
natural ass cigarettes either. I'm talking like Marlboros, Cools. Like, you fucking smoke some Newports.
Yeah.
Put fucking hair in your
something
shit.
good.
No, but you know, like,
for a
I
Newport
mean,
right now.
once again, I just think that we got lied to in a lot of ways about certain things, and you know, and all of a sudden there were these things called vapes. Like, there's a butane cell in there or something that heats up this liquid. That can't be good for you.
It can't be good.
Can't be good.
There's
No,
a 0%
no.
chance.
Can't be-
And the fact that you
there's
could just
kids-
sit there and do it all day in your
all
room.
day, every day, and all the kids do it,
And
And it tastes good. It's like some
it's
fun little
amazing.
flavor.
It's amazing.
At least
It's
cigarettes
amazing.
smell like shit, and you have
And
to
you
be a
get-
little bit
like,
ashamed of
You
yourself.
know what's funny?
Like
man?
kids
Yeah.
are smoking it, and like their parents won't know because you don't smell it.
Yeah.
I have some friends. I have a lot of friends. I'm 48. Okay, there you go. Tell everybody I'm 48 years old.
Cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag. So I have a lot of friends that have kids. I mean, I got friends that kids are like graduating college and shit. I got friends that got kids. But the majority, I'd say, of my friends have kids that are in high school or going into high school, depending. And they all say, like, the number one thing is don't let your kid vape, and like they don't want their kids vaping, and they don't want their kids smoking either. But when I was growing up, everybody smoked. Everybody's parents smoked. Everybody smoked.
My whole house, they all smoked in the house.
Dude, I smoked in my house until like 8 years ago when Olivia moved in. I mean, I would be in my bedroom, which was a fucking closet in a 3-flat in Bridgeport. The bedrooms are notoriously small. And I mean, I was in this little bedroom just ripping cigarettes in bed. I mean, like, and
That's
then
insane.
when you quit smoking like 6 months later and someone lights a cigarette by you, you're like, oh my God, what is that? And it's like, oh wait, that's everybody who was ever around me, the inside of all my cars, all my clothes. I'm so old. When I was working at the first like 3-4 years I worked at a nightclub, you could smoke inside the nightclub. So the entirety of the inside of the nightclub was this giant cloud of smoke. And everybody was smoking. That hot girl you like, ripping a heater. Everybody was smoking all the time. It was an amazing time to be alive, guys. In the 1940s. I'll tell you what. After we beat those Nazis, it was all good, you know.
Yeah. No, that I think that social media is going to get the cigarette treatment at some point, and people are going to realize how bad it is, and it's going to be shunned, and we're going to realize that life's better without it, and it's causing problems.
We should start putting cigarette ads on social media and get something out of that bitch before we. You know.
I bet that would happen soon. I mean, they kind of do that for certain things. Like there's the content warnings, right? Like somebody dies in this video, you have to click it to watch it or whatever.
You're too young to remember, but there used to be like in the 70s they stopped letting you advertise cigarettes and like hard liquor on TV and stuff. Maybe not hard liquor, but cigarettes for sure, and like magazines, and like, you know, they didn't let you advertise in kindergartens anymore and stuff like that. Which was,
they got rid of Joe Camel.
Fucking communists, you know. Yeah, got rid of Joe Camel, all that kind of stuff. But I think, you know, who knows, man? Like I said, there's no rules anymore, bro.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what's going to happen at any given time because there's no like straight line of like this is right and this is wrong because you try to say something's right. Well, oh no, but it's a fucking joke.
And that's exactly how China wants it.
Yep, and they're the ones paying for this thing. They've been doctoring our university system for 50 years. Everybody knows this. Look up the Mannheim Conference, in the 1950s in Germany.
Here we go.
All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. I couldn't help myself, though.
Anything else you want to get on, guys?
Good.
No, I think that this is an incredible episode, as was the first one, but, you know, that one will stay under wraps.
Give some outtakes from it. Go, beep, 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 beep,
Oh,
beep,
God.
beep, beep, beep.
God.
Both you guys are staples in Chicago nightlife, and thank you for joining me today and being on the pod and coming out all this way, you know, a couple blocks from Indiana. Thanks for having us.
I came to the fucking boonies. Where were you? Fucking village you live
Dude,
in.
this is closer. I'm not.
Last
His
time.
is
I don't give
closer.
a fuck about you guys. Get the fuck out of my house.
But,
Never coming back.
I mean, I think that
This is what you get after 48 years. You retire out to the. I'm not. First of all, I don't live in a suburb. We're still in Chicago, but like, listen. Everybody, be quiet.
if I don't hear an ambulance in the next 5 seconds, we're not in the city.
I'm gonna go in my car and shoot some rounds off.
Listen. That's a squirrel masturbating. Alley across.
I'm gonna go shoot it. I'm gonna go shoot it. It's too nice
weirdo.
over here.
I know.
No,
the guy.
listen, anywhere that you work should be proud to have you because you are a staple in this industry, in this city, and I think that you should be advertised on Thrill List, you know.
Come get roasted.
Yeah, like like how you go to Wiener Circle to go see Poochie. You know what I mean? You got to go to whatever nightclub you're working
you know
at.
what? You ever see the bodega guy in New York? Don't ever disrespect me. Coming over here looking like you ever see that guy?
I don't think so.
Oh, you gotta look. Put one on this podcast. I'll send you. He does this. They sit out in front of a bodega and just roasting people that walk past.
yeah.
Don't ever disrespect me walking by looking like a Chicano Captain America. You know, just some stupid shit like that. Like it's funny, man. You gotta check him out. But anyway,
Yeah.
I appreciate all the talking this up. It turns out that we're just two terrible people. That
Oh, well,
no,
I kept in a lot of I said in the last episode, so I didn't say it in this one. So
we'll
I'm
keep it
still a
clean.
semi good person right now.
You are, man. I'm just kidding.
You're
You know
working
that.
on it.
No,
Yeah.
we're all working
Every
on it. Man.
day's
We're
a
all,
new day.
we're all a work in progress out here, and I'm not. I joke around. There's a lot of a lot of self-deprecation comes from me and from doing what we do and being out there and stuff. You gotta, and at the end of the day, you know, like I'm proud of what I do. I love my job. I love the people I work with. I love the people I work for. I'm like I've said 100 times on this already. I'm very blessed to be able to do what I do. Every night's different. It's interesting. I've gotten to meet so many wonderful, cool people. A lot of jagoffs too. I've been wonderful and cool, and I've been a jagoff in my time out there as well. So it's great to be out there. It's good to have Stu with me. I was out there solo for like a year and a half after COVID, and we dragged him in, and it's been great having him around. So,
And what's the biggest lesson that Morgan taught you when you asked him about leaving underground and going to?
We grow or we die. Morgan's a big flower. He's a flower shop guy. He literally told me that, and literally I quit the next day and went to another venue. I worked at El Jefe, Bottle Blonde, and my career just went
we
up.
really jumped over that whole part. Maybe we should.
Yeah, because you were
pump
talking the whole
brake.
fucking time.
Well, good. All right, I'm here to be quiet now. So let's pump the brakes and let's.
We
talk
can't go
about-
past 2 hours though. Diamond
Where we
Cut's computer's got a problem.
Okay, let's give Stu like 10.
Okay.
Okay, cool. We'll go back to when I first met Morgan. I started working security. I was working his VIP tables because Morgan had the best book of business, as we talked about. His clients were great. I used to walk out with $500 as a college kid. They would tip me. He would introduce me, and then I started to get to know his clients. Started learning to talk to people, get good, and obviously I would go out and get a couple drinks after work and
Schmooze around a little.
Networking.
Yeah. So I went out and I started meeting. El Jefe was coming to Chicago. It was an Arizona bar. I went out and started partying late night. I get off work at 4. There's not many places you got to go. You go to after party. Started meeting people, and that's how I got the job offer. I started partying with the Arizona guys from El Jefe, and they wanted me to come work for them as a door guy. They're like, hey, we know that you know how to work a door. You're trained by one of the best door guys, but you got to leave underground.
And I was like, wait, why the fuck did they ask me to come?
And you were making way too much money. They couldn't afford you.
me.
They took the
They took the young
they
buck.
took the B team for less money. But yeah, and I just went to Morgan. I asked him like, hey man, I got this opportunity. I'm in a good place. I'm making good money every night. People are scared. A lot of people are scared to take opportunities, take risks. People hate change.
We all are, man. We're creatures of habit. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
comfort. You're comfortable.
I
You're
was
making
comfortable.
money. You know how it works. There's no
I'm
risk.
telling people right now, take the risk. Fuck it. You can only go up. Even if you go down, you'll learn. You'll pick yourself up and do better. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. And I just kind of went up from there. I worked at El Jefe, I met them, and I worked with that same team. They went over to Bottle Blonde, and Bottle Blonde was great. We were trending in good ways, bad ways. Sideways,
Lots of ups and downs.
Lots of ups and downs.
I mean, let's just pause for a second. Like, that was a happening. That was like a time, and you guys really had a vibe there. And both of you, being involved in the same thing. Like, I would get to suck that up a little bit on Sundays when I would slide through if I happened to be out.
I would hear. You want to hear a great story about how this guy showed up? It was a Bears game. We were slammed. There was like line down the block, people surrounding me, screaming
I
to
don't know
get
where
in.
this is going, but I bet I'm gonna like it.
People, I'm selling tables. Like, here, $2,000 table. I have this last table, $2,000. It's in the front. Next thing I know, like, people are like, "Get the fuck out of the way!" This and that. Someone in a rickshaw is coming down the side of the street on the sidewalk.
Mind your pace, boy.
There was literally Morgan solo. And this big ass thing could fit probably 5 people seated in there. He's like, "Get out of the way, get out of the way!" And he gets out,
Right
comes
in
up
front, dead center in
dead
front.
in front, like
The
he probably
neighbors
ran.
love that.
He probably ran over 2 people at least. And I think I saw him tip the guy for it. He gets up, he goes like, "I want a table." I was like, "Oh, we got this last one. All right, you can have it. No minimum." Guys, I was gonna give you $2,000, blah blah blah.
Like,
And,
Stu, don't let him in under any circumstance.
and then he went inside, and I told the guy to fuck off. And Morgan was in there solo at a table,
crying.
crying.
I wasted all my money on the rickshaw. No, but seriously, like, you guys had a great party there,
Yeah.
and like,
That's just-
whatever happened with it or whatever, like, and you guys, you and Dolo had a great thing going on, man. I really
yeah.
loved it. Like,
We had fun
you guys
every
were
week.
funny as shit, man. And there was just like, I loved walking in there, and you just never knew what was going to happen. And there was just
It's
no,
great.
it was great though, man. It was like such a great energy, and props to Chase too for like.
Definitely props to
That's
Chase.
like-
Ferrone.
Yeah.
Those are actually
Like,
the people I met
keeping
to
that
move.
circus, keeping that circus spinning around, without it flying into space was something special.
Yeah, we were wild animals too.
And,
Every single one of us in
yeah,
that
it was
place.
nuts in there, and you guys, the fact that you guys are running that Sunday day party, after doing it all weekend was just something.
I used to show up with 2-3 hours of sleep.
Not used to.
Oh, I would show up 2 o'clock ready to go, and we would be slammed
When
from
you think back
2 to
to
11.
when you think back of like all of our times in this business, like what stands out to you as like the place you had the most fun?
It was Bottle Blonde for sure.
Now take out. I'm just gonna say take out working, right? So you're not working. And what parties like kind of stand out to you as like, man, that was such a great party. Like you knew you were gonna have a good time when you went here, or like the vibe in this place was always great, or this room was great.
We're talking about a vibe or a party, because I know the best party I ever went to was the industry sleepover. That was by far.
See, I never went to one of those.
Yeah, you would.
Never went to
Trust me, you would.
That was
It
definitely a
feral
wild
animals
time.
into like worse, like disgusting.
That was definitely a wild time.
That
I
was
mean,
probably-
working for sure, Bottle Blonde easily. Just the energy in that room. Every person in that room played their part and played
Yeah.
it perfectly, and it just all worked together, and it was a magical time.
It was like a hodgepodge of like industry people and just everybody.
Everyone in the city, quite
Everybody in the city. There was always random ass people there, but it was like the vibe was always, you didn't see a ton of fights in there. You didn't see a lot of just people being hard, or it was just a great vibe and a good energy. And that's, kudos to the staff for, permeating that.
It was a great time. Any day of the week. I was there almost every day of the week. My days off. We would have fun on Tuesdays when we come in, and
you did.
I forgot my car, or
That old
my keys.
hatchback Benz you used to push
Yes, I barely fit
It
in
was
this
like
car.
a security clown car. You'd have like 10, 300-pound. The whole offensive line would come getting out of this little motherfucker.
It's still
My
my
car went from like scraping the bumper to like fucking high ride.
I think some of my most memorable times, like with my homies before I was working full time DJing, was probably at Hefe. I'd have to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hefe. If I take out like working there and doing stuff, like going there was more wild than Bottle Blonde ever was.
I think
but there was more fights and more like ratchet stuff in there going on.
Like there's all kinds of bars I could talk about that I really loved, like Stanley's on Sunday nights and shit like that. But as far as in the nightclub circus, something that stands out to me is a couple different times seeing like, I remember one night I saw Cascade at Paris Club.
Yeah,
and he was just at his pinnacle.
Yeah,
and it was just, we had, I was with some people that had a great table next to the DJ booth.
Yeah, that was a top 5
and
set.
It was,
I was
just
there.
like, man, that was a set. You know what I mean? Like it was like 2.5 hours, and it was just like, man, it's like the music just got better and better and better and better. He was great.
Got drunker and drunker too.
And that's one
and
time.
do you know Cascade's music like that?
No.
See, that's the dopest part about the whole thing.
Right, yeah.
Is you're not even a fan like that.
No.
But he was able to captivate you. That's tight.
I think that's when I became a fan too. Was that
And I
at
remember
Studio
that
Paris
time when like people were like Swedish House Mafia was huge, like right prior to that, and that was a really big thing. And you heard a lot of the same type of music, and I'm not sure where Cascade falls in that spectrum, But all I just remember, like, for a person who didn't overly enjoy that type of music, just that one particular tour, I think it was actually 2 different nights where I was just like, man, I don't know, whatever it was. I think one of them was on a Sunday, and I was off. And I think another night I might have taken a night off. You know what it was? It was when we
was
were
at the Mid.
No, it was when we were getting ready to open TAO, and right before Paris like started going really hard downhill.
Yeah, they were shutting down.
They had him there, and it was an amazing show. It was a great night.
Yeah,
but
he's good.
There's a couple times of that. I'm forgetting 100 other nights and 100 other cool places.
I know. There's one thing that my boy said to me recently that really like resonated about working in this industry, going to work for us, every single night we go, it's equivalent to somebody else going to the office, right? Going to their cubicle.
Yeah.
So if you were to ask somebody what they did on 2 Tuesdays ago at work, they'd be like, I don't know, it's like the same thing every single day. You know what I mean? It's just it's work.
100%.
And it's the same thing for us. Although everything we're doing is so much more fun and cool and whatever, it still just becomes work, and it's what we do every day. And it just kind of gets lost in like, oh, I'm just going to work.
It's a big blur. Especially when
like,
you get a little boozed up.
Yeah,
it's a little,
that too.
I forget my Fridays and Saturdays sometimes. I
you know
think
what
it's
sucks
one day.
one thing that sucks about this business is we've all missed a lot of stuff, like weddings and stuff like that for people and friends, and you know, it's
missed
part
every
of it.
one of my
It's
friends'
always hard explaining to people
weddings.
that, like, you know, this is what I do for a living, and me taking Thursday, Friday, Saturday off to go to your wedding is like me asking you to take a whole week off work.
Yeah.
You know, like take one of your paychecks, throw it out the window for the year.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot, you know.
And a lot of clubs don't give you paid time off.
It kind of sucked about it, but I agree with you 100%. Like, trying to pinpoint actual nights here and there.
Yeah.
It's a big blur, bro.
It's such a huge blur, you know. And the fact that you can even remember a couple of them is great.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I have ideas of some. I don't know exactly on.
I got an idea.
Oh, you fuck me.
Peace.
Yeah, we gotta end right there for sure.
Fucking dickhead. Oh,
Thank you guys for watching.
at least I got some action.
Make sure you drop a comment on the YouTube video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, algorithm activating activity. That's what we like to see here. We'll see you next time.
Speakeasy go.
Get the app, book your spot inside. Don't wait in
Come
line.
see me and Stu at TAO this Friday, Saturday, and every Friday and Saturday for the rest of our lives.
Yeah,
Sounds so sad.
if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be so lucky to work with you, partner. Work.
Fuck this.
We'll see you next
Fuck
time.
this.
Well, alright. Battle raps, cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin. That's what I love about the human soul. It'll usually show when the truth ain't told.